just got back from ConVocation 2018, and it was far and away one of the greatest weekends I've had, especially when it comes to all this pagan stuff. So short history about my own personal relationship. I'm like butting into my cloth here. My own personal relationship when it comes to these kind of pagan gatherings and stuff. I've only ever gone to kind of one, and that was sort of like, I'm pretty sure it was like a pagan pride day, but it was like 10, 12 years ago, and I wasn't really in the whole scene yet, and I wasn't kind of even interested in what was going on, and so I didn't really appreciate it at the time. But this, I don't have anyone in my life who I can talk to right now about any of this kind of stuff, so I'm pretty excited that I now do, and it's especially thanks to this past weekend. The thing that I really wanted to sort of bring up was taking risks and doing things like this on your own, if you can, if you have the ability, like if you're old enough. And you have the funds, of course. Which, thankfully, I have an amazing job where I'm able to take vacation and able to do this kind of thing. It was definitely a very big risk to try and go do this completely on my own, because obviously it's scary to do stuff on your own. You know, you don't want to you don't want to mess up. It's all new, it's all different, things are strange, you don't know what's going on, you don't know what to do, you're completely out of your element. But that's exactly what I wanted. That's what I was hoping for. Part of it. The other part, of course, was to help start to build my community a little bit and start to feel engaged in the greater pagan world, and really kind of get a sense of what it is to be this and really what it is to live this. And that is, without a doubt, one of the best parts of what I took away from this weekend, was the vast amount of people who were just incredibly welcoming and incredibly beautiful, and there's so much, there's just so many things that I want to say that I can't say in words, especially because of my grapheme color synesthesia. I definitely don't have the words to express all the gratitude and all the genuine appreciation I have for every single person I met and every single person who allowed their lives to come in contact with mine, if only for a short period, to help me grow, to help me get to the point that I want to be at. A lot of what I did over the weekend was geared towards fairy tradition, especially when it comes to the Blue Rose tradition that Storm Fairy Wolf has written about in his book Betwixt and Between, which I highly recommend if you haven't read it yet, just FYI. Link will be down below. So I was kind of following him around, and Devin Hunter, who is the one of the co-founders of the Black Rose School of Witchcraft, which is currently what I'm going through, which I have to do a video about that now that I'm remembering. I got really sick a couple weeks ago, and like probably one of the worst sicknesses I've had in a solid 4 or 5 years, so that really messed with me and really screwed with my equilibrium, and I stopped doing basically everything, and now this was a really good, perfect time to come back. And yeah. So a lot of the classes I took were in regards to that, but I also had many other classes that I took that had nothing to do with fairy, mainly because there's just so much. The amount of classes that were optional to go to was almost overwhelming. I wanted to go to everything, and sadly, I cannot yet split myself into all of the different people I would like to become to go to all these classes and absorb all the information and be able to hold it all, but I can't do that, so. There was also an amazing art room filled with some of the most gorgeous artwork and just these sculptures of all these different Day of the Dead figures, and there was all this really cool bone stuff that was going on, and I've got a definite affinity for bones, skulls and things like that. I mean, you can't tell on my altar because I don't have any of that imagery whatsoever, but it is a thing that exists within me to be, there is a capacity there for that. And there was an amazing merchant room, which was just jam-packed. I mean, every time we went in there, there was no room. Like I had to like elbow people out. Like it was awesome. I enjoyed that kind of space. So it really made it. You really got a sense of this is awesome. This is like really big, and this is really cool. So I want to show off a few of the things we got, and a few of the things that we had to control ourselves from purchasing. I will not be showing you because I didn't buy them because I wanted to, but I didn't. So I don't know if you can see that, but this is the feather necklace from Poking Dead Things or Poke Dead Things. I'm not sure what their name is. Again, I'll put a link down below. But this is a necklace that absolutely spoke to me the minute I saw it. Feathers have become a huge symbol for me, especially in the novel that I just completed writing. Because to me they represent light, and light meaning good, all this positive energy, all this sort of really wonderful, I don't know, good groovy stuff, man. If the feathers have really started to grow on me, and really started to, okay, not really, but feathers I'm super into right now. Feathers are good. Next is the other necklace that I got. I forgot exactly where I got it from. I'm gonna have to find out who it was, and I will find a link. I probably should have looked that up before I started this, but that's okay. It is a little half moon with a face in the middle. I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see this, if this is even focused. I can't tell at all. So I'll just hold it up for a little bit and just see if it all works out. But I really like this. This is something that I can wear in my daily life. You know, I wear it to work and stuff, so I don't have to be quite as hidden as I have been in the past. And then the piece de résistance, which is the tarot deck that I purchased. I picked up. It is the Barbary Tarot. And as you can tell by the cover alone, it is absolutely gorgeous artwork. This is just some of the most breathtaking artwork I've seen in anything. Here's a couple examples that I can show you. There's the Fool. Right, beautiful. I love the detail. I love the color. I love everything about it. It really speaks to me and who I am. And then the back also is absolutely gorgeous. The light is getting a little quiet in here, so let's hope it's not too dark for you. And then, of course, that's the Magician. You saw her. She was on the cover, looking awesome. She's got like a golden, like this blue ball of like electric power that I love. Very good. Listen, the Chariot was really cool. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. So I definitely recommend checking out this deck if you get a chance. And for you stone hounds out there, I also did come away with a couple stones. The first one is Shungite or Shungite. I'm gonna have to ask again. I've already forgotten. This stone was given to me by a friend who realized I needed somewhere to put a whole lot of excess energy after one of the rituals, and so in order to help protect me and help, you know, ground me and like toss that negative excess energy somewhere, this was given to me. So thank you very much to that person. And then this is a piece of manganite. I'm so bad at stones. I'm so sorry, you guys. All I know is it's magnetic. Hang on. Okay, I just tried putting it on my fridge and it's not that magnetic. It didn't stay, but I could sort of feel it. So my camera just decided to stop recording automatically and I talked for like 10 minutes and it wasn't recording, so that was fun. Yeah, so that's magnetite. Really good to have. I don't remember what I was talking about now. I'm told that it's really good to have on the altar because you need to have a piece of iron on the altar in order to help keep you grounded, which is nice. Okay, so that is all the stuff I brought back, which was pretty good. I think a pretty good haul. I'm pretty pleased with it. So let's get into some of the classes. So most of my classes, I followed. I decided to go with a fairy tradition aspect of them because I wanted to essentially follow Storm Fairy Wolf and Devon Hunter around and watch all the things that they can do, because now that I'm in the Black Rose School of Witchcraft, link down below for anyone who wants to do that. I probably shouldn't cover my mouth when I'm saying things. What is this? What's happening? I really wanted to get a sense of what it's like in person. I really wanted to confirm that that is definitely where I want to go, and I got that and way more. So Thursday, hey, guess what, guys? I wrote notes. Okay, I'm so proud of myself right now. Thursday began with opening ceremony, which absolutely was incredible. Opening ceremony really, it was the moment that I realized, yes, this is exactly what I've been searching for this whole time, and I freaking loved it. They did a whole thing where they called the quarters and they did different prayers to different deities and stuff. There was just people everywhere, and there was like children and families, and it was just everybody was really excited for this awesome weekend we were all going to share. The first big thing on Thursday was the Watchers of the Fairy Tradition, which was led by Storm Fairy Wolf, which was a like a ritual workshop thing. So basically he led everybody into a trance, and Storm's ability to put me directly into a trance just with his amazing ritual voice, outstanding. I mean, it's like, it's pitch perfect, you guys. This man has got it down pat. He knows what's up. Essentially, he brought us into trance, and the Watchers are more or less the quarters of the fairy tradition, as far as I can tell. Don't call me an expert. I don't really know what I'm talking about yet. That was amazing. That was really, really good. It was hard to do because there was a lot. That one was a lot to unpack. Like, a lot was going on. And yet, I was still able to really get something out of it. I was really still able to communicate with these different beings within the fairy tradition that I've never communicated with before. And so it was really nice to have that. It was really awesome. And then I ended Thursday with this really awesome drum circle. So it's just a whole bunch of people brought in their drums, and everybody's just, you know, just drumming away, and everybody was like grooving out. It was amazing. It was really, really a good time regardless, because everybody was having an awesome time. Everybody was just going nuts, just doing the thing, getting into it, just living for the rhythm, you know what I mean? Is it getting too dark in here? I'm gonna maybe turn on a light. Better? Okay, good. Let there be light. Now I'm like being blinded. It's horrible. Feathers are everywhere. So that was Thursday. Thursday ended about midnight, I want to say, and then I got home a little after midnight, and then I was up and back again for the 9 a.m. Morning devotional, and I'm so happy that I did that, because the morning devotional was a really nice way to ease back into it. I'm not much of a drinker, I'm not much of a partier, so I didn't go to any parties. So if you're looking for party stories, I got some, but not from this weekend. So the morning devotional was really awesome. It was led by one of the people from the Pagan Pathways Temple. Again, I'll put a link down below to that place, because that is actually nearby me here in southeastern Michigan. So we did a lot of like setting our intention for the day and that kind of stuff. It was good. It was beautiful. It's a really nice, easy, you know, you can just be sipping on your coffee, like, yeah, it's starting to feel a little groovy, you know, getting into it. No trance stuff or anything, which is fine. Too early for that, possibly. Right after that was the familiar craft, the art of the familiar craft, the art of commanding spirits. I totally knew that off the top of my head. You guys have the memory of a steel bear trap. The familiar craft was Devon Hunter's class about essentially mediumship and all of its different forms. I was extremely trepidatious about this one, mainly because I've had a really unpleasant experience dealing with spirits. as in my past, when I was younger, in my youth. But that is a video for another time. So I was really excited to see Devin's class on this because he just finished, he just came out with a book called The Witch's Book of Spirits, I think it's called, which is his second book. Links to that will be down below if you're interested. Very, very cool class. All that anxiety that I came in with, washed away. I'm now really interested. Definitely interested. Because Devin really is very succinct with his words and what he wants to say, and it's just, he knows, you know, and I trust everything he has to say. He's clearly a person who is worth listening to. After that, I went to another class called Modern Witch, which, for those of you who don't know, Devin Hunter has a podcast called Modern Witch. I highly recommend it. I think it's really, really good. Very interested if you're interested in learning anything about the craft. Do a lot of interviews and all sorts of cool stuff. So it was Devin and, of course, the infamous Jackie Smith from Coventry Creations. They taught the class together, and basically that was really cool. It was all about how to be pagan in this modern era, you know, and like how to essentially utilize things like your cell phone for magical purposes. That was really, really cool. It was a very interesting discussion. After that came another... Even just thinking about it brought back that crazy well of energy that I got from it, which was The Rite of the Seven Jars, another Storm Fairy Wolf led workshop. The Rite of the Seven Jars has to do with Malaktaus, I believe. And Malaktaus, in his really beautiful story of weeping for humanity and essentially weeping for our pain and all that stuff. And again, led into a trance and worked through some really interesting stuff. Essentially working through our own personal hell. So we really had to acknowledge where our own issues were and where our own darkest stuff was coming from, and that was a very, very powerful, very again words. So after that, I had the great honor of being welcomed into the hotel room of the Mystics of Rialur. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm sorry if I'm not. Which is the coven of of Helen Hart-Smith, who runs the Heart of the Witch's Path YouTube channel. Again, link below. Go watch her. She's amazing. So I got to hang out with those gals. They are amazing. I had such a good time. So much fun. I watched Helen get a henna tattoo, which was awesome, and we all ate pizza and we hung out. Community, man. Get yours. After that, I was feeling kind of heavy, a little down. A lot of really like crazy heavy stuff was happening. But then I was like, no, there's definitely one more thing that I want to do, and that was the Black Rose Sabbatic Dance, which was, of course, if you kind of see the theme here now, Devin, Storm, and Laura Tempest Zakroff, who was also in that as well. The Sabbatic Dance was a different kind of energy raising, and so it was trance, but it's not trance where you're just sitting there. You know, it's not one of these. You know, this is, you know, I do a lot of this kind of trance, right, where I'm not doing much. But I also do go into trance when I do, like when I work out. I often go into trance working out because it's just, I go into trance really easily, and that's how I exercise. Is I really get into it, and that's how I communicate with deity and how I get out of my body. And it sort of movement really helps. And anybody who does a lot of ecstatic work will tell you that movement is a good thing to do to help you reach that higher state. For example, like that's why, like if you're at a concert or something, and you're all just dancing around and singing, you know, there's all sorts of stuff going on. That is a form of trance, you know. Getting into that, like, and then you just leave the concert and you're like, that was amazing. I was at a different place. It was wonderful. That's essentially what the Sabbatic Dance was. Again, we went through the sort of this normal opening the way for the Black Rose stuff, and then we all became these animals. That was really interesting. Is that we all became our own beast selves and really escaped our own skin for a few moments, and it was gorgeous, and I absolutely loved it. And as it turns out, I became a buffalo. I mean, who knew? A buffalo. It was really cool. But then after that, we literally danced for like 15 or 20 minutes, where we were just like clapping and doing this awesome singing while I was singing. Other people weren't. It was crazy. Everybody was just doing whatever they wanted. They were just like going nuts, and you were allowed to be your beast self, and you were allowed to just dance out that emotion and dance out everything you had, and it was awesome. I want to do that again. I was very sweaty by the end. So that was amazing. And then I was going to go to the Jason Mankey D for Dionysus class, which is really cool because I really wanted to meet him. I read his blog on Pathos Pagan, but unfortunately I was so drained after the sabbatic dance that I just had to go home early. So I left a little early, and I ended up getting home around like 11, so 11:30. Yeah, pretty early for a lot of people doing convention stuff. Then Saturday was a pretty interesting day. A lot of heavy stuff. Again, we did the morning devotional Saturday morning, and then I did another rite with Storm, which was the Witch's Forge, which is all about the Iron Pentacle of Fairy. And I believe the Iron Pentacle is in not just Fairy, but it's in multiple traditions, from my understanding. So there's different pentacle things, pentacle stuff everywhere, obviously. But this one was in particular Fairy based. That was very intense. That was another really crazy, at least for me personally, it was very, very heavy trance work. And it's definitely something I'm going to need to work on, because we raised so much energy that it almost got to the point where I wasn't able to handle it. I came very close. Had we gone even a little further, I don't know if I would have been able to handle it energetically. So it was like my whole body was buzzing. I don't know if you ever go into trance yourself, but everything, I was gone, the room was gone, everything was missing. It was just me and this Iron Pentacle work, and basically just me working on myself, and the energy that was flowing. I'm so tired even talking about it. So that happened. After that was lunch, which I had a delicious peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and banana in my car. For you foodies out there. After that, I was like, I need to just ground myself, figure things out. Definitely ground yourself, please, if you ever have too much energy. And then after that, I went and I bought my delightful new tarot deck. And then I went to a tarot intensive with Rose Barbary, who I am unfamiliar with, but I wanted to learn more about tarot. Since I had a new deck, I wanted to kind of connect with it and sort of play with it and sort of do that. That room was packed. Oh my god. It was not a very big room. And it was filled with people. Like, there was just, everyone was cramped and like shoved in a little sardine can. They needed a bigger room for that. That was pretty cool. And then I decided to go to another thing I didn't know what it was, kind of, really. Release and Surrender, which was by D.R. Dunn. Another human I'm unfamiliar with. I am now very familiar with her because it was a ritual of releasing things that no longer serve you. It was for Binah, who is a being that I'm unfamiliar with as well. I was unfamiliar with basically everything, and so I went in knowing that I had to, so I wrote something down that I wanted to get rid of, something very personal to me. I knew everybody was like, okay, when it's gonna be very emotional. People often cry. I was unprepared for the amount of crying that I ended up doing, and I was not alone. A lot of people were crying. It was very touching to see all these people healing themselves and going through that, because that healing ritual was amazing. Really, really beautiful. That was awesome. And then after that, I'm like, I'm gonna do something lighter. I went to Ken Day course. I guess not course, more of a workshop as well. a Ken Day workshop about Jana, I think is how you pronounce the goddess's name. Well, he invoked a goddess, so that was a thing. And I've never experienced a shaman ritual before. It was so freaking cool. I was already spent from the Iron Pentacle thing and then the Release and Surrender thing, that I didn't really have a lot to give into that, but I did go into trance the whole time, and I was able to just sort of sit in the energy and experience it. And we all stood up after he invoked the goddess, and we went and we received her blessing and all that stuff, and that was very impressive. So thank you very much, Ken Day, for that amazing experience. And then Saturday night, I had dinner again with the Heart of the Witch's Path crew of the Mystics of Luray. But that was less a dinner and more of my own personal class, where I spoke with Kathy and Helen all about YouTube and how to be a vlogger. So thank you so much, Helen and Kathy, for all of your advice and everything you said. I'm gonna try and put it to work. I skipped the masquerade. There was a big masquerade. That's what the big ball. Everybody does the ball. Everybody does the masquerade. Everybody puts the mask on. Everybody does the thing. Goes in there and does a dance. Gets drunk. It's not what I wanted. That's not the scene that I was looking for this weekend. So I'm glad I didn't go. Not because I feel like I'm getting down on anybody who did. It's just not for me. It's just not for me, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be. I did, however, go to one last ritual for the night, called the Crossroads to Freedom by the Dragon Ritual Drummers, all of whom are very cool dudes. And it was a whole ritual, like a hoodoo ritual. I'm not exactly sure which one. They said both words a bunch of times, so it's hard for me to tell. It might have been a little bit of both. I think maybe that's what I was supposed to be gathering. It had been a long day. I'm sorry. But it was a really awesome ritual honoring those who lost their lives while going on the Underground Railroad. That was very interesting to hear the history of it and how everything went down. And you know, Harriet Tubman came up a lot. Her picture was on the altar and all this stuff. It was really beautiful, and we all walked down this little railroad, you know, tape railroad thing, and we walked across some eggshells and into a pool of Florida water, and then we had our feet blessed by the priestess. That was really interesting. That was very touching. The priestess actually not only blessed my feet, but she touched my chest as well, my heart. And I noticed she wasn't doing that to everyone. She was doing it occasionally, like I wasn't the only one. But after everything ended, I went back up to her and I said, "May I ask you a question?" I'm like, "Why did you bless my chest as well, when everybody else, didn't, get that?" She said, "Well, sometimes I just felt like there was someone who was in great emotional need, who was in great emotional, discomfort or grief or unhappiness." So she recognized that I was really in the mindset of the release and surrender stuff. So that really came up, and I thought that was really, really sweet. And so I gave her a hug because she's super awesome. And then that's where I got the magnetite from. They actually offered them to everyone in the class. So I was able to donate a quarter and get a new rock for my altar, which is pretty awesome. Last but not least was today's Sunday. Again, morning devotional, awesome. And then a really final, really great ritual led by Storm called the Winged Serpent, which was all about the blue god of fairy, Gianni Glass. Pronunciation, man. Not the strong suit. I'll get there eventually. That was really cool. I mean, it was so awesome because it ended, and I'm still kind of in that state right now because that was this morning. It ended with basically everybody opening their eyes and feeling how beautiful they were and how beautiful their soul was, and really, truly believing it. And then turning to your neighbor and telling them how beautiful they are. It was really cool. I really, really enjoyed it. So I basically, the rest of the day, I've been telling everybody how beautiful they are and how beautiful I am because, shit, I got mirrors, come on. And then we ended with a class taught by Jackie Smith called Spiritual Warrior, which was, again, pretty packed for a room that could have been bigger. And that was all about spiritual cleansing and protection and stuff like that. So that was a really interesting discussion where we all kind of jumped in. It was a discussion, like everybody was kind of joining in, and we were all sort of like bouncing ideas back and forth, and we were all sort of chatting about different things like why would we need protection, what might we need it from. That was very interesting. So thank you very much for that, Jack. So those are all the classes, and I'm done with my notes. Goodbye. And then we went, and at the end it was the closing ceremony where they reversed all the quarters and they said farewell and they did all the things, and it was wonderful. It was really cool. It was a very special weekend, and I'm not likely to forget it anytime soon. One last thing I hadn't been able to kind of talk about yet, I was waiting for confirmation from her to be allowed to, is that there is an occasional time where one of your soulmates will literally just walk into your life, and suddenly there they are. That happened to me this weekend. Literally Thursday, 5 minutes after I arrived there, I sat down. After I checked in at registration, I just sat down in the lobby, and I was like looking around and like going, okay, this is kind of cool. There's not a ton of people here. Nothing much going on. I started flipping through the pamphlet, and this girl sits across from me. And she's tying her shoe or whatever, and I say hello, I'm trying to be friendly. I'm like, well, if I'm trying to get out and like communicate and do all this stuff, I gotta like not be weird and just sit here all by myself. Like, I don't have anyone to talk to. I may as well talk to strangers. As it turns out, Julie was exactly who I needed to talk to, and who I needed, because I ended up hanging out with her the entire weekend. We just instantly clicked. It's like one of those moments where it was almost like I've known her for years, or almost like I've met her several times before, and it's one of those times where all of a sudden, holy shit, oh, there you are. Like, not like I've never seen her before or never talked to her before, but like you lose her for a minute in a grocery store or something, right? And then you turn a corner, like, oh, there you are. That's sort of what it was like. And the more we chatted, the more we realized that we were each on this really unique path, and that we kind of want to start working together on different stuff. That makes me so happy that I actually have someone who's relatively close to me. She lives in another country, but it's actually like only 45 minutes to an hour, I think, away from me, which is not bad at all. So occasionally we're gonna get together and we're gonna learn from each other, and we're going to go through some stuff, because she's definitely interested in fairies. She went with me on several of these different things. She was with me during the Ken Day shamanic one. I look forward to potentially, if she's willing, dragging her on this as well, and having her chat with me about stuff. So that may be fun. That's an idea I just came up with. We'll see if it works out. At any rate, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who worked the con, to everyone who helped bring this convention together. You guys were absolutely outstanding, every single one of you. Thank you so much for the staff, to the teachers, to all of the security personnel. Awesome. You made this one of the best conventions I've ever been to. It was so well put together, it was so well fit, and everything about it was outstanding. So thank you so much. I'm so very grateful. I'm extremely grateful for all of the friends that I made this weekend, and all of the community I now have because of this. I cannot wait to do this again next year. Thanks. Bye, guys.